did you make a list of 10 negative externalities and 10 positive externalities?
Yes, sir.
What about others? Amit, Asmita?
Yes, sir.
Afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I couldn't get 10 of each, but I could get like 6, 5 or 6.
Okay. So let us discuss those things. Yeah, we'll start with Aditesh. Alphabetically, Aditesh.
Yes, sir. Sir, when it comes to positive externalities, I thought that the common example that I was seeing, that was like vaccination. I mean, it's doing good at our personal level, but overall the vaccination, like the 70% people have to be vaccinated, that is overall for the greater good. So I thought maybe this could be a part of like positive externality. And then also there was a event that was going on in our colony that was regarding the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So there was like litter pickup and everything. So it is overall promoting towards the environmental benefits. And sir, like there's also been a law passed. I mean, it was already a law, but it has been given to the local RWA Resident Welfare Association that smoking in the parks is not allowed further. So so that they can reduce passive smoking. So these were the 3 examples that I could get for positive externalities. And then for negative, I've found that there was a marriage function going on. So there was a lot of noise pollution. Like I was trying to study a bit, and there was a marriage function going on. And maybe it's enjoyable for them, like they are celebrating whatever they're having. But for us, it was quite a nuisance for some time. And similarly to another example I found for negative externalities was water pollution, like the drainage system. After due to heavy rains, it was like spreading all over the colony. So these 5 examples I could get, 3 for positive and 2 for negative.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Very good. So then Amit.
Yes, sir. In positive externality, I could see use of biofertilizers in farming, and then there is drip irrigation, and then use of sprinklers and rooftop solar system, and we have permaculture. We also have use of manures. In tribal areas, we see sacred groves, that is also positive externality. And education itself is positive externality. Open and distance learning, I would go for it. And research also. And in negative, I found plantation of eucalyptus and monocropping.
And monocropping.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So fine. Okay. So then remember these examples, and when we discuss the solutions, I will ask you that
Yes,
what could be the solution for all these negative externalities.
Yes,
Then coming to Khulana.
Sir, I have listed positive externalities that vaccination programs, then steps for alcohol-free society, and plantation of trees.
Okay.
And I found negative externalities at the cement
But
factory
people,
in our.
Khulana, people who drink alcohol, they would say that.
Sir, alcohol can be steps for alcohol-free society can be positive externality, but the people smoking that can be a negative externality.
Okay. Okay.
The negative externality can be deforestation, traffic problem, then the sound pollution in railway station.
Is your home near to railway station?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then anything else? Okay. So then Sasmita.
Sir, I have listed the positive and negative externality in regarding to the environment only. I have not taken the education, vaccination, these things into consideration. And I have taken, as you said yesterday, that we should think about our village or where we are residing. So I have taken those things. So, sir, in negative externality, in our neighborhood, there is a home. They are mainly their livelihood is mainly of sound system. So they are experimenting with DJ, so that creates noise pollution. And near our house, there is a poultry farm which creates so much of pollution. And during funny, that creates for 15 days. No one can stay in this area because of that smell. And that creates very bad impact to all the people living here. And another thing is that in our village, many of the people are keeping the domestic animals, that is cow and other animals. And they are using the cow dung and cow dung for manure. But they are keeping they are not keeping in a separate place. And there creates mosquitoes and every insects are creating there. So that is creating a very bad situation in our village. And in positive externalities, from the village development committee, our one pond has been made. And there some flower trees have been planted. But that creates a very beautiful view for us. But no one take that responsibility, and the domestic animals eat those plants. And that destroy the positive externality. So that is positive externality. And sir, a canal, we have in our village, canal and ponds are there. So the clean water can be regarded as positive externality, but no one take that responsibility. And everyone thought that if everyone is taking flower from those trees, so why should I only take care of those plants? So no one is taking care of those. And a table is also there in our village, but that gives us clean water. But in that surrounded area, no one is keeping that clean. And so there also mosquitoes and everything is created. So I have found that.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine. Okay, again, if you all can put a camera on, that will be good. No, why actually I'm saying this? Otherwise, no, I am teaching to a screen, laptop screen. Camera on, I can feel that okay, you are all listening or you are sitting in front of me. Okay. So
It saves our data, sir.
yeah,
It saves our data.
no, I understand that. But then for me, see, it is a psychological factor also, no?
Yes, sir.
That if you feel that students are sitting in front of you, then you feel good to teach. Otherwise, if your camera is shut, then I can't see anything. Okay, and it is just like teaching to my laptop screen. Okay, so yeah. So all of you got the roll numbers today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So no, you probably were requiring a roll number to get enrolled in NPTEL or NTPL. What is it?
NPTEL.
Yeah, NPTEL. So now probably you can try again with roll number and all that. So Amit and Ajitesh, you are able to
Sir,
attend the
I
classes?
have already joined that and also attend classes.
You have already joined, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. We could go
Yes,
ahead
sir.
without entering roll numbers.
No, but Sasmita and Kulana, they were facing problem. So now, so Kulana, you are now able to attend the class.
Yes, sir.
What about Sasmita?
No, sir, I could see those videos, but where they all get notification, I can.
So then you have to take no help from Kulana or Amit or Ajitesh. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So you
sir.
should
Yes,
do
sir.
this because of course you have registered, but then you have to attend the classes. Okay,
Yes.
and then you have to also pass the course,
Yes, sir.
and you have to show me the grade. Then only I will put the grades on our IMS. Okay, otherwise you all will be in trouble. So have you started attending the classes there, Ajitesh and Amit?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
I've taken two classes.
Okay.
So, sir, it was a weekly, like 5 to 6 classes. So, I've taken two till now.
Okay. So how are you finding those lectures?
So, lectures are good, sir. Like it was still the introductory week, so it's like very general in nature. But I think as the week progresses, it will be more.
Now, why I was asking this question? See, I think some engineering professor is probably taking the class. So
Yes,
then in
sir.
that case, if the example should be from engineering background, then it may not be actually very much appropriate. But if in general he gives examples, that will be fine. So you attend those lectures, and if you find any problem, then we can also discuss. Even I have also thought that we can also have some discussion on the research methodology, particularly like how to select a topic, then how to do review of literature, and how to design a questionnaire, what all challenges you face while doing a survey. So all those things we can have general discussion. Okay, so you attend those lectures, but then we'll find out some time and we'll have discussion on this. Okay? And yeah, Amit, regarding your email, I think I have not also replied to your email.
Yes, sir.
You can always put in touch with the professor, and if you have a link of the professor, then you can share that link so that I can get a good knowledge of the profile of that person, and that will be helpful for me also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you just first share the link of the professor with me, and then you can put us in touch. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So GAN should flow from every side. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Gandhi used to say that.
yes, yes. No, thank you so much. Like in that 3 Red movie, it says knowledge is freely available everywhere. You just have to buy the uniform. Okay. So nowadays, that online, everything has gone online. It has become very easy also to access knowledge, to have internet and a mobile or a laptop. Okay, so let us then start the discussion on the externality. So can you quickly tell me the definition of externality, or what you have understood? Externality. Khulana, what have you understood by the meaning of externality?
If an activity of economic agent affects the activities of another economic agent, that can be positively or that can be negative. That's called externality.
And without any compensation or without coming into the pricing mechanism.
Yes, sir.
Because if it affects, but if somebody pays a compensation, then we will not tell this as externality. So it will not get into the market mechanism or the pricing mechanism, or without any compensation.
Yes.
You can use this word. Okay? So that is externality. And then Pareto optimality. Amit, can you tell what is Pareto optimality or efficiency?
Yes, sir. You had talked about 3-4 types of, but it is only, I guess,
Okay.
unable to
remember?
open.
You don't
Yes,
remember?
sir.
Okay. Aditesh, do you remember anything?
No, sir. Sir, I didn't get the time to revise.
Okay. Sasmita?
Sir, the resources are allocated in such a way that we can make no one can be worse off. No one can be better off without making anyone worse off.
Okay. So given the initial endowment and technology, resources are allocated in such a manner that no one can be made better off without making somebody else worse off. No, why actually I am brushing up these things? Because uh, in social science, these are very frequently used terminologies. Okay, so you should remember sociology. I told that in the Pareto's optimality concept or Pareto efficiency, Pareto is also read in sociology. That's what I'm telling. Okay, so you should all remember this. And okay, so we have discussed Pareto efficiency, then we have discussed externality, and we discussed that externality could be positive or negative. Okay, and so we are going to discuss all other things now. Okay, so yes, efficiency in, okay, we have discussed why the market fails, and we have discussed the reasons that there could be information asymmetry, and there could be lack of property rights, there could be immobility of the resources, then indivisibility of the resources, and then natural monopoly and externality. So market, so can someone define market failure? If you remember, what is market failure? Anybody will volunteer?
Sir, ideally, we consider that what the producer produces is going to be consumed by the consumer. But then there are other factors where sometimes then we have some byproducts of certain things which are not utilized. And also, like sometimes there is a with the improved technology, there's sometimes surplus also. So, and also if the prices, so it depends upon the cost, the prices of the commodity. So if the prices are really high, so and the consumer cannot pay for it, so it would lead to market failure. It was one of the reasons.
Okay. Amit, do you remember anything?
Yes, sir. There are certain situations in which market cannot function, and these situations lead to market failure. When say we want social goods, then market cannot take care of this. So we will call it market failure. There are environmental problems which market may be inefficient to deal with it. So then they may be causing the problems and may lead to failure of the market.
Okay. Basically, in simple terms, we always aim to attain Pareto efficiency, but if market fails to attain that Pareto efficiency, then we call it as market failure. Or the definition that is used is that if the market fails to produce the socially desirable level of output at socially desirable level of prices, then it is called also as market failure. And okay, you have already, both of you have given the examples through which you have ultimately explained that there could be a situation where the socially desirable level of output is different from what market produces. Okay? And in that case also we call this as market failure, particularly when we look at the production or the consumption, we see that the producer is producing something for which a part of it is only sold in the market. Particularly the goods are sold, but the bads are never sold in the market. So that means something is not sold in the market, and so total output is greater than what society would desire for. That's why this is a situation of the market failure. Like all the noise pollution that you all have given example, society doesn't need that noise. Okay? The Baratis are enjoying the music, okay? But Ajitesh is not enjoying. Yeah, or most of us. In fact, if you would remember once Sonu Nigam telling that, of course, he made a reference to some community that is not ideal, but yeah, there could be a lot of noise that we don't need, and nobody compensates us for that. Now, suppose some Bharati comes and then they will say that, okay, we are going to make a lot of noise, but then we will give you nice dinner. Okay, then all of you will be happy. Okay, because that comes as a compensation for you. But now they are getting married, they're dancing, you are only watching, you are not even invited for the dinner. So obviously you will have irritation for the noise. Okay, but the simple compensation of a very sumptuous dinner, would not make that irritation. Okay, so that means when I was giving the example of externality, that if you get something without any compensation, then you feel this as externality. You don't look for this one. Okay, so yeah, so that is externality, and we have discussed this information asymmetry problem, absence of property right, resource immobility, indivisibility, natural monopoly, externality, and you are here. Okay, so externality could be of two types. One is positive externality and other is negative externality. And so when you say within positive externality, it could be producer to producer, producer to consumer. Here we are assuming that economic agents could be either producer or consumer. Okay. So in that definition, we have used the term that the economic activity of one economic agent affects the economic activity of other economic agent without coming into the price mechanism or without any compensation. So here it could be not necessarily that only producer to producer. It could be producer to consumer, consumer to consumer, and consumer to producer. So some examples can be given very easily, like yesterday we have discussed steel producer affects the fisherman. Okay. Similarly, the flower producer positively affects the apiary owner, okay, or the beekeeper. Similarly, producer can affect the consumers. For example, the steel producer is polluting the water. Now there is a park nearby the river, and now because of the dirty water and the foul smell, now park visitors have now irritation. They don't now like this environment. So it could be producer to consumer, then consumer to consumer. See people, okay, like it could be that people who smoke cigarettes, they are all happy, but then people who don't smoke, they will be unhappy. So consumer, it is consumer to consumer. It is negatively. Similarly, it could be producer to producer also. If some things, some people are eating good things. Suppose sometimes your neighbor cooks something and you feel, oh, very nice. Okay, so very nice, good smell is coming from my neighbor. Okay, and so that could be positive externality also, consumer to consumer. Okay? And then consumer to producer. Difficult example. Can someone think of some example? Consumer to producer, positive or negative, anything? Consumer affects the producer.
Yes, by giving reviews. By giving reviews, consumer giving reviews to the producer.
Your voice is not very clear, Amit. Maybe
yes, sir.
Tell. Bring your mic
consumer giving feedback or review to the producer.
Okay, consumer giving feedback to the producer. Okay, but then see, you are consuming something, and then producer is now some producer is now getting affected. Review. Okay, it could be. Any other example you can think of? Consumer to producer. Okay, you think. Okay, you think, and you can tell me later. So okay, so point is that externality could be, it could origin from any source, and it can go in any direction, and it could be positive or it could be negative. Now we are starting the discussion on negative externality, and these diagrams should be, quite strange for Aditya and Amit, but then I'll help you out to understand. For economic students, these are very normal things, but then yeah, let me explain. So here you have two curves. For simplicity, you can say that there is a demand curve and there is a supply curve, and the demand curve always slopes downward. So there is a D, okay, and it is also written as MSB. I will explain that. So demand curve is sloping downward, and supply curve S is sloping upward, okay? And there is an intersection and there is an equilibrium. So you can say that blue line and green line are original curves, demand curves and supply curves, and the intersection point determines the equilibrium QE and E. Now, why the demand curve slopes downward? Okay, let me explain. It is also known as marginal social benefit curve, or in simple terms, you can say that marginal benefit curve. A demand curve is always a benefit curve. You see, we have discussed the consumer behavior that no, you always will to pay something. You are demanding a product, and you have some willingness to pay for that product. Now, suppose if you like some product, say rasgulla, then you are also willing to pay for it. Okay? Say you want to pay 5 rupees for rasgulla and you want to eat one rasgulla. Okay, like this. Now, if the price of rasgulla drops all of a sudden, then you see that you would buy more rasgullas. Okay, say suppose when say in winter season you see that in particular in the fruits market, all the fruits price drop significantly. Okay, and instead of buying say 1 kg of apple or orange, you buy 2 kg or 3 kg, right? And you make juice. No, you don't eat fruits, you make juice and eat that. So what does it reflect? And when the prices drop, the demand for that particular product actually increases. Okay, and no, that happens for two reasons. One is that the existing consumers buy in larger quantities, and the consumers who could not buy earlier at a higher price are now able to buy this. Say, for example, say orange. Orange price you see in winter, the price drops to 60 rupees or even 50 rupees. So some people can buy orange only at that price. But when orange price goes up to 150 rupees in off season, they can't buy, okay, because their budget doesn't permit them to buy expensive things. So some consumers were not available in the market when prices were very high. But when prices dropped, now additional consumers have been added. Similarly, the existing consumers who used to buy 1 kg of orange in off season when the prices were 150 rupees are now buying 3 kg when prices dropped to 50 rupees. Okay, that's so this is simple logic, and that's how it explains that the demand curve slopes downward. That's what D curve, you see green line is sloping downward from left to right. And again, for your information, I can tell you that this demand curve can intersect both axes, both x and y axis. Okay, that means the horizontal axis can intersect the vertical line also. This line can intersect, and these are extreme cases. If this demand curve intersects the horizontal axis, then what is the implication? Well, we can start with the vertical one. Okay, suppose let me take a pen, a note. color. Suppose we trace this like this, okay, and now this is the intersection point. Now, if this demand curve intersects the vertical axis, what will be the implication? Khulana, tell me. Simple, +2 economics.
At a very high at a very high price, consumer cannot want to buy anything.
Okay, consumer
the
can't simply afford this price. Yes, the price is so high that consumers can't actually buy anything. If the demand is zero, that is correct. What about if the demand curve intersects x-axis or the horizontal axis? What will be the implication? Susmita.
Sir, at very lower price,
Price is zero. No, or no, price is
yes,
zero.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, demand will be,
Demand will be.
sir, zero price, there will be no profit. So there will be no incentive for production. But yes,
There will be no incentive for production.
Sir,
Yes.
this can be a free good.
This can be a free good. And free goods are never discussed in economics. We never
Yes.
discuss any free goods.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mm.
So then, no, this is a little tricky situation. You should remember this. That look at the demand curve. Demand curve is also your marginal utility curve. Again, I'm complicating things for Aditesh and Amit. Now, why this marginal demand, marginal utility? I'm saying marginal utility is the extra utility that you derive when you buy extra units of commodity. Suppose earlier you were buying only 1 kg of orange, now you are buying another kg of orange. Okay. Then is your utility increasing? Okay. If it increases, then you will buy. Okay. Not necessarily increase. If you get positive utility, marginal utility, you will continue to buy. Definitely, the utility will always fall because the first unit of orange that you eat, you feel oh so good. But when you eat more and more orange, definitely that satisfaction drops. Okay. So similarly, if you go on eating too many oranges, okay, then what will happen? Similarly, suppose you really love rasgulla, okay, the sweet, any kind of sweet, bikaner or any sweet that you love. Now, the first unit of rasgulla will give you maximum satisfaction. Similarly, you will pay for the second one, you will eat second one, you will pay for the third one, you will eat because you love rasgulla. Your satisfaction is definitely declining. Similarly, how long will you get satisfaction from the rasgulla? At a particular point, you will not get any additional utility from a rasgulla, right? So that is basically the point where this curve intersects. And there you will not will to pay any price. Okay. So you will continue to pay for rasgulla or for any product till you get some utility. See what is happening here. If you draw a line, if I let me draw, yes. No, okay, this is not coming straight line. Suppose any red line that I'm drawing. So this line basically shows that you are getting this much of satisfaction. Your satisfaction is falling, but still you are getting satisfaction. Since you are getting satisfaction, you are also willing to pay for it. Okay, and but beyond a point, when suppose this is your maximum capacity of eating rasgulla, beyond that you cannot eat. Similarly, orange, you can buy orange, but then what will you do with that? So your utility will zero. It will become zero at this point. So here you will stop. Okay. So that is what is your demand curve is. It is downward sloping. It is also your marginal utility curve. This is also your marginal benefit curve. Yes.
Sir, I had a question. Then when we talk about that, the utility becomes zero.
Yes.
So it is only dependent on the consumer, or it can be affected by external factors also. Like for example, we have a real requirement of masks and sanitizer. Once after the situation gets better, we
Hmm.
might not have that much utility.
Yes.
So
Yes. No. Your question is very much valid. That it could be product specific also. See, the nature of the demand curve could be product specific. See, for all products, we will not have a similar demand curve. In fact, there are some products for which the demand curve is always a flat line. It doesn't fall. There could be demand curve which is upward sloping, or there could be a very steep demand curve, complete vertical demand curve. Okay, so there could be many extreme situations. For say example, for mask, whatever may be the price, you will have to buy a mask, and up to a point of time. Suppose COVID vanishes, then you may not actually buy a mask. Okay, so up to a point, that demand curve would remain constant. Similarly, if you look at the initial days of mask coming to the market, people have bought masks paying 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, okay, N95 mask. People have the sellers have looted the consumers, okay, and same masks are now available at 25 rupees or 50 rupees, same N95 mask. Okay, so but even if mask prices drop, do you think that you will buy more masks? Okay, you may buy, because now people are using mask also as a fashion sense. See, particularly for the girls, we have to wear a matching mask. Even I try also to match my mask with my dress sometimes. Okay, because now cotton masks are available in the market with different colors. Okay, so if the prices drop, definitely you will have probably 50 pairs of masks to have to keep your glamour quotient at a high level. Okay, but if mask prices remain high, you may not do that. So to some extent, it is downward sloping. Okay, but the slope may differ. Okay, so elasticity that we call in economics, the elasticity or the response of the demand curve to price would be different for different products. For some products, it would be very high responsive. For some other product, it would be less responsive. That we call in economics as elasticity. Anyway, we are not getting into those things at present, but yes, that's a very valid question, and I hope you understood, Ajitesh.
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Demand curve slopes downward, and this is your marginal utility curve. This is also your marginal benefit curve, and this is also your willingness to pay curve. Since you are deriving some marginal utility, you are willing to pay for that. So that's its willingness to pay curve. And this is also your marginal benefit curve, because extra benefit that you are getting from each unit of extra product. That is a demand curve. That's why it is written D is equal to MSB. That is marginal social benefit that you are deriving from the product. And here we have assumed that there is no difference between the private benefit and the social benefit. Both are same. Okay? But we are showing a difference in case of the supply curve. Now, S curve, that is blue line, is sloping upward. Now, here you have to recall the behavior of the producer. The producer would always, or the supplier will always be willing to supply large quantity of commodity when the prices go up, right? If the prices fall, then obviously you will not will to supply, because when prices are high, you will be willing to supply. And there is a reason behind this, because when you produce more, your cost of production also increases. Your transportation cost will increase, your packaging cost will increase, your advertisement cost will increase. So since your extra production involves extra cost, you need extra price to supply extra quantity. That is why there is upward slope. There is a positive relationship. When prices increase, suppliers will be willing to supply more quantity. So simple. Okay, and the supply curve is also known as the marginal cost curve. Okay. Now, what is this marginal cost? Just like marginal utility I told, for producer, when you are producing one extra unit of commodity, your cost is increasing by some amount. And if that amount is not covered by the buyer, then you will not supply this. Okay. So since your marginal cost is increasing, you are expecting that the consumer will be willing to pay that extra price. Then only you will be willing to supply that. That is why this is the supply curve is also known as the marginal cost curve. The students of economics would again further say that it is the part of the marginal cost curve that covers the average variable cost. You remember Sasmita and Khulana, your undergraduate economics. Okay. Anyway, so
Yes, sir.
Yes.
so supply curve is also known as the marginal cost curve, because you need to cover that cost of production. And here I have written MPC. What is MPC? That is marginal private cost. Why? Because we are differentiating between the marginal private cost and the social cost. That's why there are two concepts we have used here. So what is private cost here? Now think about the steel producer who is producing steel. The producer is using labor, land, building, machineries, engineers. All those costs are direct costs or the private cost of the producer. So those are reflected in the supply curve, blue line, okay, supply curve. Costs are increasing when you produce more amount of steel. But the steel producer is also producing something else, that is polluted water and carbon dioxide. Those are not included in this cost. Okay, but that is impacting the health of the people. This is impacting the fisherman's income. So that is becoming a cost on somebody else or on the society. Ultimately, this cost is imposed. Okay. So this cost should be really added to the product price, but market is not doing that. That is why there is a difference between the marginal private cost and the social cost. And that here as we have shown that this vertical gap between these two curves, okay, is basically your social cost. Okay. So producer is bearing some amount of cost. The lower part, the yellow line that you see, the area below this blue line is covered under the marginal private cost. Producer is aware of that, but producer is not aware of, might be aware, but then he never bothers about that. Okay? Producer definitely knows that I am producing carbon dioxide, but he thinks that this is free. No, nature is not charging any price from the producer. So why should the producer worry? But if the nature starts charging, suppose Pawan Dev, father of Hanuman, will start charging money from the producer that for emitting 1 ton of carbon dioxide to atmosphere, you have to pay 1 lakh rupees. Then industry will become conscious. They will not do something else. Okay? They will try to cheat Ganga Mata. Okay? So something, so who is not charging? They will try to use that resource. Now atmosphere is free, water body is free, soil is free. Okay? And we just leave our effluent to any source. But society as a whole is bearing that cost. And that cost is really very high. So if you consider that, then we take this red line, okay, and we add a cost to the entire area. This area is basically the social damage that is happening, and that should be added to the producer's private cost. Then this area becomes the marginal social cost, MSC. I have written. Okay. So some of those should ask whether this should always be a parallel line or this can be different. Sometimes this can go like this. Okay, and when you produce more quantity of output, instead of a parallel shift or instead of a parallel rise in the social cost, the social cost may increase at a higher rate. Okay, so this could be, see, this is remaining straight, but this is now growing. So the pollution intensity is growing and the cost of pollution is increasing. So the social cost is increasing at increasing rate. And that is quite possible also. Similarly, in some other scenario, you may also have a situation like this, that pollution social cost is dropping. Pollution is output is increasing, but then your social cost is not increasing at that rate. So there could be multiple scenarios. So but the point is that you are realizing that, okay, I can erase all these things. Very good, nice. Okay, so the point is that so there is a private cost and there is social cost, and the producer is not able to realize this social cost. Okay, and that actually should be that is basically the part of externality. So external means that you are producing something which is external to your core activity. Your core activity is production of steel, but you have created some external cost, that is social cost. Okay. So here is what is happening. Now the problem here is that when there is a negative externality, the problem is that your marginal social cost is greater than the marginal private cost. Similarly, production is more than socially desirable level. This is the important lesson that you all should remember. That when there is negative externality, your production is more than socially desirable level. Now, what is socially desirable level of output here? See, market equilibrium is QE, isn't it? Look at this QE output, this one. Equilibrium is derived here, but when you draw the line, basically, your QE is your equilibrium quantity. But when you take into consideration the social cost, your equilibrium is determined here. Intersection between the demand and supply curves determine the equilibrium, and socially desirable level of output is QSO. Socially desirable level of output. So there is a difference between the market desirable level of output or market determined equilibrium and socially desirable level of output. And whenever there is a negative externality, the problem is that market produces more than what society requires. And look at steel production. If you do not pay anything for the pollution, then you will produce steel so that you make profit. But when you start paying for the pollution, like for water you have to pay, for air you have to pay, then you will not have that much resource actually to produce extra quantity. So your society will only require QSO, a level of output. So market really needs society requires this much. Yeah, society needs this much only, QSO, but the market produces QE, OQE. Okay, so that is the difference. So in case of negative externality, you should remember what is the problem? The problem is that market produces more than what society requires. When I look at the price, now when market sells some commodity, it produces more, and then it also sells at a low cost, isn't it? Look at the equilibrium here. It is selling the product at P. Market equilibrium is P. But if you take into consideration the pollution cost or the social cost, then the price that it should charge is SPSO. Higher price should be charged because here equilibrium point and your price is determined here. So you should charge OPSO. Okay, but that is not really charged. Is that clear? So now if somebody asks you, now what is the problem in case of negative externality? You'll say that market produces more than socially desirable level of output, and market sells the product at a lower price. Since it is available at a lower price, obviously more quantities will also be sold. Okay. Similar, look at the real life example. Okay. Sometimes we say that organic products are more expensive, isn't it? Why? What is the reason? Okay. Organic products are more expensive because, in fact, production cost is less in case of organic products, but still organic products are more expensive. What is the reason? Can someone tell? Why organic products are more expensive?
So because they're keeping in mind the environmental factors, and they're just trying to keep things as natural as possible
No, so
to
they
minimize the. Yes, sir. So they're increasing the price. Matlab, we are paying the extra price just for that.
Sir,
And also,
because
no
in
sometimes
raw material is available limited. Raw material is available limited.
no, sorry, again tell me, Amit.
Raw material is available in limited quantity, and when we go for industrial production, we can produce as much as we want because the elements of raw material could be derived from not from nature.
Okay. In fact, there are other reasons. One is that limited raw material could be one factor. Other factor would be that usually, in case of organic products, if you look at particularly the farm products, agriculture products, the productivity is less. No, people claim that people are able to produce less, so you are suffering a loss. If your quantity production is coming down, then you should be compensated for that. Okay? But society as a whole benefits quite largely, because there is zero cost on the society. Okay? There is no pollution. It saves the biodiversity. Water is not polluted. Okay? So then the benefit is very high, but then real prices, okay, benefit is high, so prices should be high. Social benefit is higher, right? So here, that cannot be interpreted in this curve. That has to be discussed in case of positive externality. But in negative externality, here we say that we can think about steel production. Now, see, when you produce steel comes from iron ore. So first you have to extract iron ore. Now, while extracting iron ore, you are clearing forest, you are polluting water, you are polluting soil, but you do not pay for it. Okay? And you only pay for the wage of the laborers and the machines that you have used for the production. You don't pay anything else. In fact, very surprisingly, the minerals are available in the tribal areas or in the forest areas where the tribals live, and tribals are always displaced from those forests for mining operation. They are never given adequate compensation. They are not even provided simple infrastructure. Okay, now also there are thousands of villages in India where there is no road available, no connectivity is available, no power supply is there, no drinking water is available. But near that you will see a mining operation is happening, but to mines, all electricity, good roads are available. But only a few kilometers away from the mines, there are tribal hamlets where there is no electricity, where there is no power supply. And forest department tells that no, inside forest we cannot construct a road. But in the same forest, mining operation was allowed and electricity was provided. Okay. So now if you take into consideration the cost that is borne by the local community in terms of water pollution, air pollution, forest clearance, then the steel price will go up. If the local people have to be compensated adequately for all the losses, then the steel prices will be very high. Okay? If you try to take into consideration all the social costs, but that is never done. Okay, in reality, we are not doing this. Okay? So negative externality can be corrected. Now, if there is a problem here, when market fails to realize this additional social cost, then we have to impose a tax, okay, on the producer, and then this can be corrected. Now, how will you impose a tax? So, see, in India, we have a carbon cess. If you produce coal, then for each ton of coal production, you have to pay a carbon cess to the government of India. MOEF is collecting. So today you have to do a Google search. Now, how much cess we are imposing on coal production? What is the policy for that? Okay? And that is one type of theory for the negative externality. Because you know that burning coal causes a lot of pollution, but by imposing a cess, you are discouraging them. Basically, you are increasing the prices of the coal. Now, when you are increasing the prices of the coal, now coal serves, for coal is used for many purposes. Basically, coal is used as an energy source. Now, there are multiple energy sources. You have gas, you have coal, you have electricity, and you have fuel like firewood. Now, if you have to choose between all these, suppose coal is available at the least price, then you will buy coal, because gas is very expensive, 800 rupees you have to pay, or 900 rupees. Similar, electricity is also not very cheap. So if coal is available at a very low price, you can buy and cook it. But then when you impose a cess, now coal prices will go up. Now people will switch over to some other source of energy. Coal consumption will go down. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of increasing the coal price through imposition of a cess. Now you have to tell me tomorrow or in next class, what is the price, okay, that is charged, or what is the cess that is imposed on the coal in India. Okay, so I think with this I will stop today. In next class we shall discuss positive externality. I'm going to, because this diagram otherwise Ajitesh and Amit will not be able to understand. But that's fine. Okay, we shall discuss one by one. Okay. So we'll stop. Do you have any questions on today's class?
Sir, would like the diesel model for the cars are or like are more expensive, or the CNG kit is more I mean the diesel variants are more expensive than petrol variants. So could this be another example of
Yes.
like controlling?
Yes, but in fact, but if you look at the energy prices in India, very surprisingly, this is a very regressive policy. Look at kerosene and CNG. Kerosene is the least expensive product, but kerosene is the most polluting energy source.
Yes.
CNG, on the other hand, is the least polluting one, but CNG is very expensive.
Very expensive.
Why? So those are also the policy challenges in India, because we always presume that kerosene or coal are used by the poor people. So we cannot increase the prices of these products. So although it causes maximum environmental pollution, we are not able to increase the prices. There will be huge protest in country if we increase the prices of kerosene and coal. But on the other hand, CNG, we presume that the rich people use it, okay, which is partly true. But then environmentally, if you see, then it should be available at the least price, because it is the cleanest source of energy. Okay, that way energy is pricing is very different. But yes, you are correct in case of diesel cars. Diesel cars cause maximum pollution, and that is why it is charged extra price.
Extra. Yes.
And nowadays many companies have stopped production of diesel cars. I think Maruti has stopped production of diesel cars.
Yes, sir.
And government has also withdrawn all the subsidies, and nowadays there is no difference between, almost there is no difference between diesel and petrol prices, which is a good thing. We are gradually moving towards that. So now companies are phasing out. Anyway, I believe that in another 5 years, we will not have a single petrol two-wheeler on the roads. Everyone will be using a electric car, sorry, electric scooter. So if you have not yet booked electric scooter, please book it, okay? Because petrol scooters will not be available on the market in coming days. Because if you buy electric scooter, then you don't have to use petrol, okay? And the cost of charging is very less. Now you can charge your scooter worth 10 rupees. No, if you look at the unit cost, of electricity, and with that you can ride 100 kilometers. Okay, and for riding 100 kilometers no, with petrol, you have to use minimum 1.5 liter of petrol, which cost 150 rupees. Okay, or even more than that. It may also increase further. So where is 100 rupees, 150, and where is 10 rupees? So that is my advice, that you all are students of economics. So you should book electric scooter. Even I have not yet bought, but then I am planning to buy one very soon. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So any other question? If you have. Today you have a class at 3:30.